before we start the show though, seriously, on a serious note, I don't know if you saw the news, but this morning, Jay Briscoe died in a car accident. So
oh wow, this morning?
Yeah, this morning. I'm not gonna be the guy that's gonna sit here and be like, oh, Jay Briscoe. I've never watched one Jay Briscoe match. I've only heard of the Briscoe brothers. Actually, as a matter of fact, when I heard of the Briscoe brothers, I was thinking of Gerald Briscoe and his brother. That's who I was thinking about. But yeah, I saw it this morning on Twitter. Him and another person died, and then they're also saying that it was a kid in the car also, but I don't think the child. Wow. Yeah, I don't think the child died. But yeah, man, terrible. I mean, because especially to the independent Ring of Honor circuits, he was their everything. The Briscoe brothers. I don't know anything about them, so I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm pretty sure AEW will do a tribute to him tonight. So I'll just watch and see what goes on there. So man, rest in peace to him, man. And like, where does and they're the Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions. So like, where does that leave his brother now? To have to deal with this? Yeah, it's crazy.
But it's a tragic situation, man. Then he had his kids with him. Like, damn.
Yeah, see, that's what I heard. It was another passenger and a child.
Yeah, both his daughters was in, like, the stuff I seen earlier. Both his daughters were in the car. One of his daughters actually has broken vertebrae in her back.
Oh.
So she had to have surgery today. The other daughter just got nicked up real bad.
Dang, so both his daughters was in the car when he died in a car accident. Oh man. Yeah. See, I didn't see that. When I saw the story this morning, it just said that he was killed in a car accident. I didn't get the details because it said it was another passenger and a child in the back, but they said the child was okay.
Yeah. Actually, both his daughters. So the other person that got killed was actually the other person in the other car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the other person in the other car was killed. Jay Briscoe was killed, and then Jay Briscoe had his two daughters in there with him. And like I said, according to the report, she had to have surgery today because she got broken vertebrae in her back. The oldest daughter,
38 years old.
Yeah, that's jacked up, man.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
I can only imagine like how his brother feel, man. Like,
yeah. And then, like that's you. When you hear about the Briscoes, I've never seen them wrestle, but when I hear about the Briscoes, I know you're talking about, Jay and Mark. Man,
yeah,
that's sad, man. Life is just ridiculously short. Ridiculously short.
Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. This is the Stadium After Show. The conversation continues. We just had the show um, just dedicated to Royal Rumble. And now we're going to go ahead and just dive deeper into the Rumble and other news and views from the wrestling world. I'm Venkat, and just here to just continue the conversation. And before we get into it, just want to give a shout out to Trevor. You can check Trevor out on this show every Wednesday, Wrestling Wednesdays. But in his day job, he does also have his own podcast uh, that is Straight Talk with Trevor, and you can catch him on Facebook, on YouTube, under the Straight Talk Society on Facebook, on YouTube, Straight Talk with Trevor. Subscribe to his channel, and he has the debut of his season 5 of his podcast, the Straight Talk with Trevor podcast. That will be dropping this weekend. And the first episode is dedicated to his dad. And in that episode, entitled The Importance of a Black Father, that episode will be the debut episode of season 5. In the past, he's had many interesting and thought-provoking topics. Season 5 starts off with a bang with this special episode centered around his dad's birthday coming up very shortly. So support his channel, support his podcast. Check it out. You can listen to his podcast. You can dig back into his catalog of all the past shows he's done, the previous 4 seasons. Check him out on Spotify, Apple, Google, and wherever podcasts or platforms are available. He's virtually everywhere right now, folks. So check out Trevor, support his channel. Shout out to MD20. Shout out to, of course, Blackson and the Arena family. The stadium is presented by the Arena. So just wanted to shout out those people. Also Yanga and all the many other members of the Arena family. Now, tonight's episode on Wrestling Wednesdays was about Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble on its 35th anniversary. The latest iteration of the event will be this Saturday on Peacock. You can catch that on Peacock, and it'll be on a Saturday. Usually we have wrestling events over the years. It's always been on a Sunday, but I'm really digging the Saturday thing. It gives everybody a chance to catch it without having to worry about work or school or whatever. I think it's a much more convenient time. So I'm looking forward to this Rumble in particular, even though last year was highly disappointing. Shane McMahon was fired as a result. I guess he controlled a lot of the creative that happened in that Royal Rumble. It was a tragedy. It was a flaming dumpster fire, if you will. But I'm still looking forward. This is Triple H's first creative endeavor into the Royal Rumble. He's calling the shots, so it's going to be interesting. So far, I think Triple H has done a great job making the WWE universe exciting and intriguing. You still have the Bloodline, Sami Zayn. You have the Cody Rhodes storyline. Plus, you also have Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley. You have a lot going on. Seth Rollins is always floating around. So there's a lot of interesting storylines that is going to culminate around this time of year leading into WrestleMania. And this is where stories are supposed to end and restart. So we'll see how that goes. On Raw this past Monday, they had a 30th anniversary show. So this was a big 3-hour show where they just celebrated Raw in general, being 30 years on the air. There were some moments here and there, but of course, what always sticks out, Sami Zayn, Bloodline, all day, all night. Sami Zayn is just flat out awesome. And he can just have my money. Just give this guy the money, man, because he is box office gold. I can't get enough of Sami Zayn at this moment. So they had the trial on Raw, and they just pretty much had Paul Heyman masterfully dissecting Sami Zayn's intentions. And is he really for the bloodline, or is he really for himself? And he showed video evidence detailing that Sami Zayn is no good. And in a very uplifting sight, you saw one of the Usos stick up for Sami Zayn, and he had his own tape to show why he should be. This saga, this drama has been going on with the Usos, the Bloodline, Sami Zayn. This has been going on for a few months now, almost a year, and it's just great stuff. And I'm excited to see where this goes going forward, especially with the Royal Rumble coming. Sami Zayn also had an interesting and important role in defending the Usos tag team titles. He stepped in for an injured member, and it was a great match. The crowd was completely in it. It was on fire, and it was just great to see that. It was very exciting matchup to watch. Sami Zayn came in, stepped up for the Bloodline again, for the Usos, and helped them to retain their titles. The match was just great. But I don't know, man. It's I'm not a WWE, WWF fanboy like that, but I like to be able to objectively just look at things and just really point out the good stuff and see that. I mean, no organization or league is going to be the best at all times. So, but when they're good, they're really damn good. And so we're looking forward to more from Sami Zayn and the Bloodline. In other news, we didn't really talk about this on Wrestling Wednesdays, but Wrestle Kingdom happened maybe a couple of weeks back now. But in the show, which from the highlights I saw, looked like a pretty good show. But one thing that really stood out was Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks making her debut at the Wrestle Kingdom 17. She's now known as Mercedes Moné. I can never get it. I'm just calling her Sasha Banks. I'm not used to that yet. But yeah, she made a debut. She came out when a rival, I'm not sure of the lady's name, in New Japan, but she came out. I think it's Kairi, whatever. She came out during her match, and she kind of like stared the lady down, and then out of nowhere she attacked her, and she executed a move, her new finishing move. But the way the move went down, it wasn't done all the way right. She kind of messed up a little bit, so it was kind of off. So you had people on YouTube just like commenting constantly about how bad the move was, how it's a move. It's an awkward. I can't even describe it. It's just a weird. It's one of those unnatural wrestling moves that really shouldn't do anything or be that good. But even with that, like certain moves, like the pedigree is not really the greatest move. It's really a garbage move, but they sell it. This move didn't get sold that well, and you could tell she messed up. But whatever, she still made her debut, and they're gonna have a match, I believe, in California. So that's something I'm kind of interested in, just because I want to see her, because she left WWE. She pretty much um, took her own power and said, "I can make money outside of this place. I don't need you to validate my worth." And she's now taking her act on the road. So she's in New Japan now. I'm sure not before too long she'll be in AEW. She may be in NWA. She may be in TNE, Impact, I should say. But she says she's a free agent. So that's interesting. That's a pretty powerful thing. And the funny thing is that matchup that she's going to have in California. I think it's California. She's gonna that event is already sold out. So she's box office, and it's crazy because years ago, female wrestlers, they weren't looked at as bankable stars, or at least we didn't allow them to be looked at as bankable stars. But she clearly has something to do with them selling out. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'm going to keep my eye on her developments, Sasha Banks, because, a lot of people may have things to say that they don't like. They don't like the fact that she left WWE or whatever. But I'm like, more power to her, man. I mean, if things aren't right where you're at and you feel like they're not valuing you, you have every right to get the hell on, man. Go get that money. Go get your money. If you don't see my worth, I'm gonna make you see my worth. So I'm more power to her. I love what she's doing. So I'll be checking her out. Yeah. So tonight, we talked about many different aspects of the Royal Rumble. One of the things we really didn't touch on was, certain little tidbits about the match itself. Like, for instance, the quickest eliminations. Of course, for many years, the Warlord was notoriously the quickest elimination. And the Warlord is one half of the Powers of Pain, which is Barbarian and the Warlord. And the Warlord is the bigger one, the bigger guy. And this guy, this is like, I believe, 91, it might have been, 91. Yeah, it might have been 91, if not 1990. But he came in. It was his number. He came in. He was flexing his muscle just on the apron. And in the background, Hulk Hogan wind up with a clothesline. And as he stepped in, boom, got hit, got knocked right out. And for the longest time, nobody could see any way possible that record could be broken. And it's a dubious record, to say the least. But 10 years ago, Santino Marella, he broke the record. He got eliminated even quicker. He barely touched the ring and got hit with a shot that just knocked him right out before he could even get set in the ring. Santino, you just gotta love that guy, man. He's awesome, and he just showed up in Impact. So he's gonna be, I guess he's like the general manager, or the guy that calls the shots in Impact. So I wish he was in WWE, because I love the theme music. Is just when you hear that music for Santino, it's just funny stuff. But the Royal Rumble, just like Trevor said earlier, it's his favorite event all year long. The one event that he looks forward to, and I can see why. It is fun. I think the format is going to be compelling no matter what year, even though they may not deliver every time. But the match concept is such a fun thing that you look forward to it, even with all the bad things that may have happened a year or a few years back. It all gets wiped clean because you're always hopeful for what's coming up next. Like I said, I'm looking forward to this event. I'm looking forward to this year's Royal Rumble. I really think that it has a shot to be one of the better Rumbles. There's a lot of intrigue. We still have a lot of question marks. Will The Rock be in it? Can Cody Rhodes, who has declared that he is in the Rumble after his injury, so can Cody Rhodes come and rise to the occasion? Me personally, I don't think he can because you're coming off an injury and now you're going into the Rumble. I don't think he's going to win it. I don't think Cody Rhodes is going to win it. It would be great if Sami Zayn win it. That's who I'm going for, Sami Zayn all day. So I'll be watching. My eyes will be tuned to that. In other news in wrestling, AEW, we have the matchup that we're waiting for, the Iron Man match with MJF versus Bryan Danielson. That's going to be an interesting one to see because it seems like MJF is just all about avoiding that matchup. He doesn't want to, I guess, get embarrassed or get exposed in that Iron Man match. But a lot of pressure is going to be on MJF because he's got to have a great match. The match, he just can't survive that match. He's got to have like a Steamboat Macho Man type match. He's got to bring it because all the pressure is going to be on him to carry AEW at this particular time with all the controversies that they've had. So he needs to bring it. So that's a match I'm really looking forward to seeing. Personally, I want to see Bryan Danielson as a champion. I think he is the best option. Pound for pound, I think Bryan Danielson is the best wrestler on the planet. I think he just delivers. Right now, I think he's the best. So, but we'll see. I mean, MJF is working on making his era, his legacy. So maybe he'll have enough to turn back the challenge. I don't know. Another thing with AEW, every time Trevor talks about Darby Allin, it's always negative with Darby Allin. I don't know why. Why, Trevor? Why? Why are we hating on Darby Allin? I don't get it. It's a little, slim, small guy that, to me, shows a lot of heart when he's in the ring. He has good matches too, but he's trying to devalue Trevor, trying to devalue Darby Allin as a crash test dummy, as he would call it, which is no different than when Ric Flair called Cactus Jack a human stuntman. So it's not fair because I think there's more to his character, to his abilities, his skills, than just diving off somewhere or putting his body in the line. I think he's a smaller guy that came up under a lot of adversity, and he's had to constantly prove himself. He just won the championship, the TNT championship. I think it was 2 weeks ago. He just won that title, and within a week's time, he defended the belt 3 times, and there were competitive matches, and they were good matches. I think Darby Allin is great. Trevor also mentioned something about Sting being behind Darby, but again, Sting is the support factor for Darby Allin, so he's not going to be in front. That wouldn't make sense, especially when Sting isn't even in the match. You know, he's his backup. He's his support. He's not gonna be in front of him or even really be beside him. There's really no need for him to do that. Sting knows what he's doing. It's not a slight on Sting. Sting is just playing his part, is playing his role, which is the support factor. But you know, Trevor, he's just hating on the guy, so he's gonna find stuff. He's gonna find anything he can find. But you got to give it up to that guy, man. He's pretty tough. Smaller in stature, but really big on heart. Yeah, I got much respect for him. So, you know, as far as you know, anything else, you know, we had the passing of Jay Briscoe. You know, Jay Briscoe from Ring of Honor, who was the reigning tag team champion there, and had that belt 13 times. You know, he's one of those Ring of Honor original guys, those guys that's been there for a long period of time and really made their legacy there. So, you know, with his passing, his sudden passing, my God, you just go into your car to drive somewhere and boom, that's your last ride, literally. I did not know about it, and it's ironic. I went out driving to do errands and then get ready for the show last week, Wednesday. And it's not until Trevor mentioned that on the show live, I had no idea, and it was so sudden. And then his daughters also got caught up, and they were in the car as well. Don't really know the status right now. I mean, they may still be in the hospital at this point, but I wish their family well. It's a tragic, tough loss for the family, for wrestling as well, the industry as well. It's sad because, you know, I didn't know much about them, and you know, you look up matches and you look up promos and things of that nature, and I mean, you could see that there was something there. There was one video I saw, Jay Briscoe explaining why the WWE wouldn't sign them. They kind of wanted to sign them, and then at the last minute, it was the whole thing got changed. I think it had to do with their age or something. But it would have been interesting because he looks the part. He looks legit, and in the ring, he looks good there too. So his image, his personality was interesting. It's a shame. That's a major loss. And I'm sure the best was yet to come there, but unfortunately it was cut short. So rest in peace to Jay Briscoe. You know, it's a sudden, quick change of life, and it's happened. I know that very well. Things just happen. I lost my brother. Things just happen. Boom. And you just don't know when the end is going to come. So I feel for the family, and I wish them the best. So rest in peace, Jay Briscoe. Well, I also wanted to comment on $1 Million Man. This is just me speaking here, but $1 Million Man is pure trash. And him showing his face on that Raw 30th anniversary, like Trevor said, why? You know, why? Why even go there? I mean, come on. He's the scumbucket of the decade, really. You're stealing money from Mississippi. I don't want to see you. You know, like he literally played a character in wrestling, the $1 Million Man, the same guy that told the little black boy to dribble a ball 10 times. And if he does that, he's going to get $500. And on the 9th dribble, he kicked the ball away and said, "Oh, you messed up. It didn't work." And to come to find out, he really didn't pay the boy. It wasn't even an act. And he did that week after week after week, just screwing over people telling them to do things, do push-ups, do this, do that, and just screwed people over. I mean, I get it, he's trying to be a heel and he's trying to generate heat, but that's wrestling, right? Then you come into real life and you're defrauding the state of Mississippi by literally taking money out of poor people's pockets. So people are being denied loans, denied payments of funds that are there to support their situation, especially coming out of COVID, people being unemployed and all this. And then he's like defrauding with Brett Favre, the state of Mississippi, which is, by the way, Mississippi is like always in the bottom 5, if not number 1 bottom state when it comes to poverty and income inequality. But so like that's the place we want to defraud. Yeah, it's just annoying. It's wrestling, but it's more than wrestling. It's just crazy. The Los Angeles Lakers, they got all the benefits in the world. They're in a big market, right? They're in a big city, flashy city. All the stars are there. They make all this money. They got all these championships. They have all this history, and they're the first ones defrauding the government for the COVID payroll relief, where the government pays a loan to an organization to keep the staff online. And it wasn't meant for big companies like the Lakers. It was meant for small businesses that were struggling to pay their check-to-check living employees. It was a way to keep them on the payroll. And the Lakers, of course, exploited it. And it's just crazy when the big guys are just taking advantage and stepping on the little guy. It's always something frustrating to see. It's like when a guy claims to be great and they got to cheat to win, or they got to do something to get the edge, even though they claim they're the best. If you're the best, show you're the best. Everything else is just bull. But that's just me. I'm the crazy one. So, wrestling is it's just a little mini resurgence. I think everything is happening in waves. So you had that big boom of the '80s. The Hulkamania, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair times, Four Horsemen, all that stuff, and all that greatness that we rode. Then it went down in the early '90s. And then it went up by the mid to late '90s. And it went up higher than it's ever been. With The Rock, with Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page, all these Stone Cold, all these great stars and moments and these matches. It was like the ultimate dream. You got all these events and shows. It was just great. And then it went down again when WCW went away. And then it created this major void in the industry. And then, it took a couple years, 2-3 years, and then WWE was able to pick up fragmented pieces from WCW and kind of build a roster. And there was like a little mini bump there. A little mini bump, we got some great match situations in the mid 2000s, and then by 2009, 10, 11ish, kind of just went down again. It was just boring and ridiculous. And then the pipe bomb of CM Punk kind of sparked interest again, and it kind of went up a little bit again. And then since then, a couple of years later, it would go down again. And now I think we're in one of those upward moments, but with an asterisk. I think now is a time where you'll have all the excitement of Triple H, of AEW, the Ring of Honor, being a part of AEW, and of the NWA, once again being in operation, and Impact is there, and New Japan is doing New Japan things, and you have this thing bubbling again. And with the streaming technology we have right now, and how we could just access the content so much easier now than it's ever really been. You don't have to wait till 3 a.m. for some odd ass show to come on. You don't have to set your VCR to record the match to see it later. You can just see it on your time when you want it, on YouTube or on a paid service. You know, you can see what you want now, and there's so much to see. And you have the excitement of Triple H steering the ship at WWE. And so WWE is this big, huge company now. And now you got a guy that's supposedly going to add more of that traditional wrestling to that big company. So now you're balancing the best of both worlds. You have the big resources of the company, and then you have the traditional values and the and that traditional thing is, it's an iffy thing, right? It's like, what does that really mean? To different people, it means different things, and not everything old was great, and not everything new was lame. There's different levels to this and the different sides. So, there's just a lot going on now in wrestling, where a few years ago it got kind of sluggish and stagnated and uninteresting and just kind of bleh. And now wrestling is picked up again, and now you got the nut job Vince McMahon forcing his way back in, and that brings all kinds of other dramas. And now there's even more of an intrigue, and it's like bigger than wrestling. This is like the future of wrestling. Like, the decisions that'll be made by this company is like going to dictate where this is going to go. So now, does wrestling continue on a path to going up and up and up and up, kind of like that 80s golden era, that 90s ultimate era, or does it go back to a regressed place, which may not be all that bad, because you may have territories coming back into the fold. And the only thing with that is, depending on the funding that these territory organizations have, are they going to be able to provide the necessary spending to make the product viable for the casual fan? Or will it be just a boys club thing again, where just old guys and young boys are watching, and that's about it, and it's back to that unrealistic thing that we've been doing, and then it's not appealing. I mean, WWE, I'm not a fan, again, as we all know this, but they have their place, and they're necessary to be there, as does AEW, as did WCW and all these other places. They were a necessary place. And every time we lose one of those places, ECW and stuff like that, it creates these voids. So I think the best balance of this was back in the 90s, because you had the smaller leagues, but then you had your big three. You had your WWE, your WCW, and your ECW. So there was something, you would like something from somewhere. And for those that were true wrestling fans, you were watching all three. For those that were just, well, I'm a WCW guy, or I'm a WWF guy, or I'm an ECW guy, you still got what you wanted, but you really got the most out of it if you were watching everything, because then you were never really truly disappointed, because if one was failing somewhere, another was doing it right the other place. So, and I think that's the strongest place that wrestling was, where it had that big three, and then it had those other lower leagues out there, but everybody had something for everybody. Now it's just WWE. That's number one. And then at a distant two is AEW. But, the WWE, if they fold, if they get sold, that becomes a huge, huge void. And what happens to wrestling at that point? Does it, do advertisers look at it and be like, well, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with that. But because if he sells to the wrong place, like the Saudis, that's not going to last. And then that's it. And it just takes one executive to say, I don't like this. And then it's off the air. That's what happened at WCW. Vince McMahon didn't beat WCW. Vince McMahon didn't kill WCW. It was Warner executives that said, time for this to go. And that was it. It wasn't anything to do with how bad or how good the show was or how much money or how little money they were making. It was all about, I don't like wrestling. I want it gone. So, and that's the thing. When that happens, then wrestling will be buried and it'll be just small regional things all over again. And when that happens, it's good, but you won't ever get it's like not having an NFL or not having an NBA and you're just looking at smaller leagues. It's not going to be right. It's not going to do what it needs to do. There's roles for everything. And when you're missing those kind of roles, the whole thing will implode. So I don't know. I mean, wrestling these days it's an interesting time. It's a time of uncertainty. It's a time of like you could feel like there's something big that could come, but we don't know if what's coming is good or bad. It can hurt or help the industry. We just don't know. So I'm just like you and everyone else. I'm just waiting and seeing. So we're gonna end this show now. Next week on Wrestling Wednesdays, we're gonna be covering the top 10 WCW greatest matches. On that top 10, we'll all list our favorite WCW matches, 1 through 10, just like we did the top 10 pro wrestler list, all-time list. So it'll be fun. That'll be a fun one. The episode after, we'll be diving into WWF's all-time greatest matches. So there'll be some interesting things to see, how and why and what each of us pick. So it'll be an interesting show. It'll be a fun show. So we look forward to that show next week, Wednesday, on Wrestling Wednesdays, presented by the Arena. Shout out to Trevor. Shout out to Blackson. Shout out to MD20. We'll see everyone next week. It'll be a great show. This is the Stadium After Show, where the conversation continues. Thank you guys for watching, supporting, and we will see you next week on Wrestling Wednesdays. Peace.
The Arena Uncensored.
Aw yeah, Black Sun in the hizzle, aw the shizzle dizzle.